Greetings, everyone. This is Emily. At 23, you might be questioning why I'm still under my uncle's roof, particularly with the story I'm about to unfold. You have to trust me. This is far from the life I envisioned for myself. At this moment, I am fervently pursuing my dream of becoming a graphic designer, driven by passion and determination. Each day unfolds with the thrill of sketching, the creativity of designing, and the challenges of freelance projects that keep me on my toes. Yet, the journey of life has often been fraught with challenges. When I was just a child, my world shattered as my parents chose to part ways. For years, I found myself drifting from one home to another, a deep yearning for stability gnawing at my heart. The road twisted and turned, each bend bringing me closer to the threshold of Uncle Matthew's home, where uncertainty loomed just beyond the door. What unfolded was entirely unexpected. With my mom's sudden move for work, I found myself in a precarious situation, desperately seeking a place to stay as I navigated the final stretch of my college journey. Uncle Matthew stood as the sole beacon of hope in my family, the only one willing to take me in. He and his wife, Linda, reside in a charming house, tucked away in the serene countryside, far removed from the relentless chaos of the city. I believed this would merely be a fleeting pause, a serene haven where I could delve into my own thoughts. Yet, it revealed itself to be far more intricate than I had ever envisioned. Months have slipped by since I settled in, and I believed I had embraced the serene cadence of rural existence. In the quiet embrace of stillness, I discovered a profound sense of peace, where time seemed to stretch and linger, wrapping around me like a comforting shroud. Yet today carries an unmistakable weight. Today, an unexpected event unfolded that I must reveal. It all began the moment I stepped into Uncle Matthew's room, the air thick with an unsettling stillness as he lay there, lost in slumber. Before we dive into the unfolding events, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Allow me to share a deeper glimpse into the enigmatic figure of Uncle Matthew. He's far from the ordinary uncle you might expect. He has always been a guiding force in my life, shaping my journey with his wisdom. He showed me the thrill of riding a bike, the satisfaction of fixing things around the house, and gifted me my first car for my 18th birthday, a weathered old Jeep that captured my heart completely. In the midst of my mom's frantic search for a place for me to stay, Matthew emerged as the clear and undeniable choice. He's the kind of uncle who lingers in the shadows, always present, never just a fleeting visitor during the holidays. He possesses a rare kindness, an unwavering patience, and an extraordinary spirit that sets him apart from the rest. In his presence, a profound sense of safety and love enveloped me, creating an unbreakable bond that lingered in the air. Relocating to Uncle Matthew and Linda's home brought a whirlwind of change. Linda had woven herself into the very fabric of his existence for what felt like an eternity. 2 years have passed since they exchanged vows. Initially, uncertainty clouded my emotions regarding her presence. She was older than Matthew, and there was an ever-present air of detachment surrounding her that left me feeling like an intruder in their bond. I found myself in the guest room, a secluded space at the far end of their house, where shadows lingered and secrets whispered. I made every effort to respect their routines, allowing them the freedom they needed. As time passed, the once palpable tension between Linda and me began to dissolve, particularly when she started sharing her insights on cooking, cleaning, and the intricacies of daily life. Though our bond never reached the depths of my connection with Matthew, the initial tension that hung between us gradually dissolved into something more comfortable. In recent months, my bond with Matthew has grown profoundly. He had always been a steady presence in my life, someone I could rely on when everything else felt uncertain. His words carried the weight of experience, his advice often guiding me through difficult times. Evenings were a tapestry of conversation, woven together over dinner or moments of quietude shared in the living room, where every word held weight and every glance spoke volumes. Yet lately, I've sensed a subtle shift in the way we interact. The once unwavering foundation of our relationship seemed clouded by an unspoken distance, a tension I couldn't quite define. His expressions carried something deeper, perhaps concern, perhaps hesitation, but undeniably different from before. At times, I caught him watching me, a contemplative look in his eyes. It wasn't the warm, reassuring presence I had always known, but something else, something unspoken. It made me wonder if there was something troubling him, something he wasn't saying. Words escape me, yet an undeniable shift lingers in the air between us. I found myself questioning whether he feels it as well, for the tension that hangs between us when we're alone is nearly palpable. The air between us felt thick with an unspoken weight, like a lingering storm waiting to break. It wasn't fear, nor was it comfort, just an unsettling awareness that something in our dynamic had shifted. Your thoughts are clear to me, Emily. He is your uncle. I sense the weight of skepticism lingering in your thoughts. You have no idea how many times I've whispered those words to myself, each repetition echoing with a weight of desperation. Yet, no matter how ridiculous it may appear, this undeniable attraction between us clings on, unyielding and persistent. I've attempted to dismiss it as a mere illusion, persuading myself that I'm overanalyzing the slightest of gestures. Yet in our solitude, the atmosphere thickens, as if an unseen power pulls us closer, igniting an unspoken tension between us. And that leads us to this very moment, tonight. As the evening settled in, I found myself immersed in a design project within the confines of my room, the air thick with anticipation. The house lay in an unsettling silence. As the door clicked shut behind Linda, the atmosphere shifted, leaving only the two of us in a charged silence. Matthew had slipped into his bed hours earlier, or so I believed. As I sat there, immersed in my work, a faint sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway, sending a shiver down my spine. Initially, I brushed it off, convinced it was insignificant. Suddenly, a soft creak pierced the silence, signaling the slow, deliberate opening of a door. The door to his sanctuary. My heart raced with anticipation. I stood paralyzed, a whirlwind of uncertainty swirling within me. Should I venture forth to see how he is, or allow him his solitude? A surge of intrigue enveloped me. It was a deep, unsettling feeling that gnawed at the edges of her mind. The unmistakable tension gripped me once more, a force I could not ignore. In an instant, I found myself before his door, caught in a moment of uncertainty. I felt an overwhelming urge to reach out to him, to shatter the heavy silence and confront the inexplicable tension that hung in the air between us. Silently, I slowly pushed the door open, my heart racing as I tried not to disturb him. Shadows danced in the dimly lit room, creating an atmosphere thick with anticipation. Moonlight poured through the window, creating haunting shadows that danced across his face. He lay there, on his back, one arm casually tucked behind his head, the stillness around him thick with unspoken tension. His expression radiated tranquility, an ethereal quality illuminated by the gentle embrace of the night. In that fleeting instant, I found myself frozen, unable to take a single step. The tranquility of the moment, the gentle illumination caressing his features, rendered him almost otherworldly. As I stood there, an undeniable force gripped me, more intense than I had ever experienced before. I remained paralyzed at the door, time stretching endlessly around me. My heart raced, each beat echoing in my ears like a drum, drowning out all else. A flush of warmth surged to my cheeks, an unfamiliar sensation that caught me off guard. Uncertainty clouded my mind, leaving me adrift in a sea of possibilities. Was I irresistibly compelled to observe him in that serene moment? Or was there a yearning within me for something far more profound? Something elusive, lingering just beyond my grasp? Time slipped away as I remained there, ensnared in the depths of my own reflections. Yet, the spell was shattered in an instant as my elbow grazed a delicate vase perched precariously on the shelf behind his bed, sending it plummeting to the ground with a deafening crash. Matthew jolted awake, his eyelids fluttering as if struggling against an unseen force. In that fleeting instant, our gazes intertwined, a silent tension hanging in the air. His gaze was shrouded in a veil of confusion. Yet, lurking beneath the surface, an unsettling presence stirred. There was an elusive feeling, a whisper of uncertainty that lingered just out of reach. He blinked several times, struggling to bring me into focus, and then released a gentle, drowsy chuckle that hung in the air. "Emily, what brings you here at this hour?" he inquired, his voice heavy with lingering sleep. My heart pounded in my chest as I struggled to find the words to explain. My heart raced as I hesitated at the threshold, torn between the urge to explain my presence and the fear of overstepping. The silence hung heavy in the air, amplifying the tension that crackled between us. My mouth felt parched, and my mind raced in a chaotic swirl. "I never intended to disturb your slumber," I faltered, my voice trembling, scarcely rising above a breathless whisper. Matthew stirred awake, his hand instinctively moving to his eyes, as if trying to wipe away the remnants of a haunting dream. His familiar, warm smile illuminated his face, a patient expression that enveloped me in a comforting embrace, making me feel secure amidst the uncertainty. Yet, this time, an unspoken intensity flickered in his gaze, something that sent a thrill racing through me. His gaze held me captive, a smoldering intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. "It's all right," he murmured, his voice imbued with a tenderness that caught me off guard. "Emily, remember, I'm here for you whenever you feel the need to share your thoughts. I'm here for you, always ready to stand by your side." I nodded, but inside, a storm raged. The atmosphere in the room was thick with tension, and my heart raced as I struggled to regain my composure. I simply needed to speak. My voice barely escaped my lips. My voice trembles, wavering with uncertainty. His smile dimmed just a touch, and in that fleeting instant, I could have sworn I glimpsed a flicker of doubt in his gaze. Yet, it vanished in an instant, leaving only a lingering sense of what once was. "Come here, sit down," he urged, his hand gently patting the space beside him on the bed, an invitation laced with unspoken tension. His tone wrapped around her like a soft blanket, warm and enticing. Yet there was an unsettling edge that made her heart race. A wave of uncertainty washed over me, leaving me frozen in place, grappling with the weight of my next move. Yet a powerful force within me compelled me to press on. Before I could even pause to reconsider, my feet were already drawing closer to him. I perched on the edge of the bed, the air thick with unspoken words and a charged silence that enveloped us. The closeness to him was intoxicating. The warmth of his body radiating next to mine sent shivers down my spine. The delicate aroma of his cologne lingered in the air, captivating and almost overwhelming in its understated allure. My heart raced, and the stillness in the room became almost suffocating. A whirlwind of emotions surged within me, an intensity one could no longer ignore. The weight of my feelings pressed down, compelling me to confront the truth that had become inescapable. We were so close that I could hear the cadence of his breath, feel the relentless rise and fall of his chest with each inhale, a silent dance of tension between us. My heart raced with an intensity that felt almost deafening, each beat reverberating in my ears like a distant thunderstorm. I gazed into Matthew's eyes, our faces tantalizingly close, the heat between us palpable, igniting an unspoken tension in the air. His gaze locked onto mine, tender yet filled with an unspoken tension. Yet, lurking beneath the surface, a spark ignited, sending a thrilling shiver coursing through my skin. His silence was deafening, a powerful force that conveyed more than any words ever could. My lips parted slightly, my breath caught in my throat as an irresistible force drew me nearer to him. Heat flooded my cheeks, and my heart raced violently, threatening to burst from my chest. What was I even doing? What was unfolding between us? Words eluded me, yet it was as if the universe had collapsed into this singular, electrifying instant. Matthew remained motionless, his gaze piercing through me, reflecting the storm of emotions swirling within my soul. Silence enveloped us, yet his breath grew rapid, mirroring the frantic pace of my own. The atmosphere surrounding us was charged, laden with unvoiced feelings that lingered in the silence, both of us too apprehensive to give them a name. My mind was a blank, Reason eluded me, and all that remained was a surge of raw emotion, as though an unseen force was pulling me closer. I leaned in slightly, expecting to hear his usual steady voice guiding me through my doubts. But this time there was silence. A heavy, unspoken weight hung between us. My stomach twisted. Had I misunderstood everything? A torrent of feelings crashed over me. A whirlwind of confusion, guilt, and an insatiable yearning that I could no longer suppress. My mind was a cacophony of warnings, urging me to halt, to retreat, yet my body remained defiantly unyielding. I longed for this, a desire that transcended reason itself. Matthew's hand ascended to my cheek, his touch a delicate blend of tenderness and strength, as he cupped my face and pulled me nearer. His other hand lingered on the bed, his fingers grazing my skin, sparking a warmth that coursed through me, enveloping me in a thrilling embrace. The kiss intensified, blurring the lines that separated his lips from mine, enveloping us in a moment charged with unspoken tension. All that lay outside that room faded into oblivion. Time stood still, an endless void where memories faded and hopes remained unformed. Just this fleeting moment. Only the two of us, caught in a moment that feels both fragile and intense. I found myself ensnared in a whirlwind of feelings, confusion, remorse, and an overwhelming desire that stole my breath away. What were we even doing? What was it that held me captive, preventing me from breaking free? Answers eluded me. Only the intense feeling that this moment, this connection, was destined to happen. Matthew pulled away from the kiss for a moment, his forehead softly touching mine, creating a charged silence between us. Our breaths came in fits and starts, each inhale a whisper of tension, each exhale a careful release of the weight we carried. His pulse throbbed against my skin, erratic and wild, mirroring the frantic rhythm of my own heart. "Emily," he whispered, his voice thick with a tension that coursed through me like electricity. The way he uttered my name carried an intensity that lingered in the air, a weight of unexpressed feelings that hung between us, impossible to ignore. In that instant, a chilling realization washed over me. There was no way to retreat from the path I had chosen. "We shouldn't," he murmured. Yet the words lingered, heavy and uncertain, as if they were searching for the strength they lacked. In the depths of my mind, uncertainty gnawed at me, leaving me questioning my true alignment. A powerful urge surged within me, compelling me to cast aside all logic and surrender to the overwhelming sensations that enveloped me. With a trembling heart, I cautiously extended my hand, letting our fingers weave together in a delicate embrace. He remained steadfast, refusing to retreat. Instead, his fingers gripped mine with an intensity that mirrored my own desperate need to cling to him. Our eyes met once more, the air around us heavy with unvoiced inquiries, persistent uncertainties, and the burden of all that had unfolded, defying what should have been. The question hung in the air, heavy and unuttered. Is it time for us to take that step? Is it possible for us to? In a heartbeat, my hand reacted on its own, gliding to the nape of his neck, pulling him nearer with an undeniable urgency. Our lips collided once more, but this time, every ounce of doubt vanished, leaving only certainty in its wake. It was an overwhelming, desperate longing to be close to him. Matthew's hand glided down my back, drawing me in with an intensity that sent shivers through me. The heat of his body pressed against mine ignited a thrill within me, amplifying the moment in ways I never saw coming. I was lost in the moment, unaware of the destination, yet it didn't matter to me at all. In that moment, nothing else held significance. It was all about the now. In that fleeting instant, it felt as though the world around us faded away, leaving just the two of us suspended in time. My heart raced within my chest, a relentless drumbeat echoing the intensity of the moment. His lips grazed my neck, leaving a trail of soft, electrifying kisses that sent shivers down my spine. His breath brushed against my ear, igniting a shiver that coursed through me. A sensation surged through me, unlike anything I had ever experienced before. Deeply personal, all-consuming, and steeped in secrecy, creating an allure that was impossible to resist. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" He breathed softly against my skin, his voice heavy with longing and intensity. I can't bear the thought of causing you pain. I shut my eyes, wrestling with the tempest of thoughts and feelings surging through my mind. A part of me felt the urgent need to withdraw, to distance myself, to halt this before it spiraled into something deeper. Yet, the longing within me surged with an intensity that was impossible to ignore. With unwavering conviction, I murmured, my voice calm even as turmoil raged inside me. My hands glided over his chest, sensing the warmth of his skin beneath my fingertips, igniting a spark of tension in the air. I desire this with all my heart. I desire you deeply. His lips met mine again, a moment filled with emotion that neither of us could ignore. The point of no return had been crossed. The world beyond dissolved into oblivion, leaving just the flickering flames that danced between us. A yearning so intense it threatened to consume all remnants of logic and reason. The walls closed in, shadows creeping as the light faded, wrapping us in a tense embrace that heightened every heartbeat. Every touch carried an unspoken depth, a silent understanding that words could never fully convey. His heartbeat resonated, a steady pulse that contrasted sharply with the chaotic flutter of my own. Every heartbeat drew us deeper into this moment, banishing any remnants of doubt or hesitation. Our bond reached beyond the tangible realm, transcended mere kisses, surpassing simple touches. It was an overwhelming sensation, a profound depth that eluded my ability to articulate. This was more than a mere spark of desire. It marked the dawn of an undeniable truth, a reality we could no longer ignore or feign ignorance about. The silence hung heavy, a palpable tension that spoke volumes about the bond we shared, yet eluded my grasp. It transcended words, defying all attempts at understanding. I've yearned for this for what feels like an eternity, Matthew whispered, his breath a tantalizing warmth against my lips. His voice was gentle, yet it carried an intensity that sent my heart racing uncontrollably. His confession lingered in the air as my hands rested against his, feeling the warmth between us. I could feel the tautness of his chest beneath my fingertips, the warmth radiating from his skin, and the delicate shifts in his demeanor with each caress, leaving me breathless and on edge. In this moment, there was no turning back. The pull between us was inescapable. A moment of clarity washed over us, forcing us to confront the emotions we had long suppressed. Each touch, each glance, each kiss drew us deeper into a realm where the outside world faded away, leaving only the intensity of our connection. The intensity of our bond enveloped me completely. It transcended the physical realm, an intricate connection that lingered in the air, a bond so profound that mere words fell short of its essence. I found myself unable to fight it any longer, surrendering to the pull that had become irresistible. We found ourselves ensnared in a moment thick with unspoken tension, the room enveloped in an eerie stillness. The atmosphere crackled with tension as we exchanged a silent connection, a sensation unlike anything I had ever experienced. For the first time, an unspoken understanding filled the air, a bond that defied words. It was a connection, a depth of feeling that surpassed anything I had ever experienced. The air crackled with an electric intensity, an oppressive stillness enveloping us. In the heavy silence, we stood frozen, words trapped in our throats. Suddenly, the echo of the front door creaking open downstairs shattered the silence, sending a shock through both of us. My heart raced as I abruptly distanced myself from Matthew, his hands hovering for a heartbeat longer than they should have. What just transpired? What had we permitted to transpire? The question loomed over me, casting a shadow of confusion and shame that threatened to engulf my thoughts. Yet, intertwined with the discomfort was an undeniable sensation, something I struggled to dismiss, a deep-seated need, a profound longing. I struggled to understand what had just happened. The weight of the moment settled heavily between us, filling the space with silence. Matthew stood rigid, his form seemingly encased in ice, the palpable tension in the room holding him captive. The truth of what transpired between us was a labyrinth of emotions, intricately woven and far too intricate to unravel with mere words. His eyes remained fixed on mine, a storm of emotions swirling beneath an impenetrable facade. Yet, even in the stillness, the warmth between us lingered, an intimacy that clung tightly, refusing to fade away amidst the turmoil rising within me. "Emily," he whispered at last, his voice barely above a murmur, thick with an intensity that left me unsettled. Just as he was about to speak further, the echo of footsteps ascending the stairs shattered the stillness. Every footfall echoed ominously, a stark reminder of the tension in the air. "Matthew?" Linda's voice echoed ominously through the hallway, sending a chill racing through me as my heart plummeted into my stomach. A wave of dread washed over me as I became aware of the sound. Her voice, deceptively casual, pierced through the tension of the moment like a tidal wave, obliterating the delicate calm we had managed to hold on to. My heart raced, thoughts swirling chaotically as I grappled with what actions to take, what words to utter. Yet silence lingered. What lay ahead was beyond anything I could have ever anticipated. I leaped off the bed in a heartbeat, my breaths quickening into frantic, shallow gasps. A wave of panic crashed over me, my thoughts whirling chaotically, each one a fragment of fear, none coalescing into a clear escape route. Confusion gripped me, leaving me at a loss for words to convey the whirlwind of events that had just unfolded. The door slowly creaked open, catching me off guard before I had a chance to compose myself. And there she stood, a figure cloaked in uncertainty, her presence heavy with unspoken words and lingering tension. "Linda." Her gaze swept across the room, darting between Matthew and me, tension thickening the air. Her expression twisted in a tumult of confusion and disbelief, grappling with the surreal reality unfolding before her eyes. "Emily." "Matthew, what is happening in this moment?" she inquired, her tone cutting yet tinged with uncertainty, as if the unfolding scene before her left her grappling with confusion. A chill swept over me, draining the color from my face as her presence crashed into me like an icy wave, leaving me paralyzed in place. In a heartbeat, every shred of clarity I once possessed vanished into thin air. My throat constricted, rendering speech a daunting challenge. I hesitated, grappling with the silence that enveloped me, struggling to articulate my thoughts, to defend my choices. I stole a quick look at Matthew, who sat on the edge of the bed, an air of tension hanging between us. His expression was clouded with uncertainty, his posture tense with unspoken conflict. His hand instinctively found its way to the back of his neck, a telltale sign of his inner turmoil. The silence enveloped us, heavy and palpable, as an unvoiced connection flickered in the air between Matthew and me, a shared awareness that lingered just beyond the reach of our words, both of us hesitant to confront it directly. Linda's eyes flickered between us, and in that fleeting moment, I steeled myself for the impending storm, the fury, the pointed fingers of blame. Yet it remained elusive. Her expression transformed, her eyes revealing a profound depth that transcended mere anger, an unsettling sorrow lurking beneath the surface. When she finally found her voice, it was a whisper, delicate and laced with unspoken weight. "Emily." She leaned in, her voice low and intense, as if the weight of her words could shift the very air around them. "You need to grasp this," she began, her eyes locking onto his with an urgency that sent a shiver down his spine. Her tone was steady and composed, yet her words lingered in the atmosphere, laden with significance that eluded my understanding. "This situation is far more intricate than you both can imagine, layered with complexities that elude your understanding." Her words hit me with the force of a tempest, swirling around me and leaving me in a state of confusion that deepened with every passing moment. What was she whispering? What could she possibly mean? With a measured breath, Linda ventured deeper into the room, the door clicking shut with a finality that echoed in the stillness. Her presence enveloped the room, not with fury, but with an unsettling serenity, a quiet that hung in the air like the tense pause before chaos erupts. Her gaze pierced through the air, unwavering and intense, while her demeanor held an unsettling calmness that sent a shiver down my spine. "I'll say this only once," she pressed on, her voice low yet resolute. It is essential to pause and truly contemplate the profound implications of this for each and every one of us. Her words hung in the air, a haunting echo that remained even as she turned away, the door clicking shut with a whisper of finality. I remained frozen, her voice reverberating hauntingly in my thoughts. She remained silent, her eyes searching for the truth, a storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. Instead, she had departed, leaving behind a weighty silence, an unspoken anticipation, a flicker of hope, however fragile. I glanced over at Matthew, my heart racing with anticipation. His expression was a tumultuous blend of emotions, a swirling storm of shame, uncertainty, and an elusive feeling that lingered just out of reach. As our gazes locked, a wave of realization washed over me. In that moment, it became painfully clear that we were both adrift in our own turmoil. Linda's serene presence, her openness to the unknown, had granted us a delicate moment, a vague possibility to unravel the tangled web of our actions. But how will it unfold, and what sacrifices will be required? Matthew averted his eyes, his hands trembling with unease, as if grappling with the heavy burden of all that had unfolded. The heaviness of his burden was palpable, a tangible reminder of the intricate and unforeseen ties that bound us together. As I stood there, lost in thought, a revelation washed over me, bringing with it an unexpected clarity that felt both unsettling and illuminating. This was never meant to happen. None of us saw this coming. Events had spiraled into chaos, leaving us with no choice but to face the looming confrontation ahead. Linda was undeniably correct about that aspect. This was undeniable, an event that could not be brushed aside or dismissed as if it were merely a figment of imagination. The turmoil, the uncertainty, everything cried out for a conclusion. Matthew, I whispered, my voice quivering with unspoken tension. What are our next steps? What shall we do next? He gazed at me, his eyes brimming with a tumultuous blend of feelings that eluded my understanding. Emily, I don't know, he confessed, his voice trembling with uncertainty. A mix of emotions ran through me, making it difficult to find the right words. His words resonated with a haunting sincerity, laying bare the tumultuous struggle that raged inside him. I could see the storm brewing in his eyes, a man ensnared in the intense bond we had forged, yet tethered by the weight of his loyalty to his wife. This was not a challenge that could be unraveled in just one conversation. It was a complex issue, shrouded in layers that defied a straightforward resolution. I inhaled sharply, drawing nearer to him, the tension thick in the air. The space between us shrank, my heart racing with uncertainty as I grappled with the decision to reach out, to offer solace, questioning if it was truly the right choice. Yet, in this moment, the very essence of what is right felt shrouded in uncertainty. I don't believe we can resolve everything in one go, I said softly, my voice unwavering even as turmoil swirled within me. Yet, we must take that first step. It's time for us to delve deep into this matter, to confront the events that transpired and the emotions swirling within us. This situation is far too intricate to overlook. Matthew's posture shifted subtly, his expression deepening with gravity, yet still holding a trace of warmth. I understand, he replied, his voice barely above a whisper, laden with contemplation. But I find myself lost, unsure of where to even start. I edged nearer, my heart racing wildly, yet my voice remained steady as I began to speak. We begin by confronting it, I stated, locking eyes with him intently, recognizing the events that unfolded, embracing our emotions, and then, united, we chart our path forward. He nodded slowly, a flicker of relief breaking through the tension etched on his face. This won't be easy, Emily, he said finally, his voice laced with a tension that hung in the air, revealing both determination and a hint of fragility. Yet, I yearn to grasp the depths of this. I need to unravel the complexities of what's unfolding between us. I reached for Matthew's hand, the connection igniting a whirlwind of feelings that hung heavily in the air between us. The heat of his skin pressed against mine was both comforting and heavy, laden with the unspoken truths that hung in the air around us. Answers elude me. Matthew, I confessed, my voice quivering with barely contained emotion. The uncertainty looms over me, a heavy weight I can no longer escape. For a fleeting moment, an intense silence enveloped the space between us, thick with unspoken words. We sat there, each adrift in our own turbulent thoughts, grappling with the intricate web of emotions, guilt, and uncertainty that had ensnared us, the air thick with unspoken tension. In the midst of uncertainty, we found ourselves adrift, surrounded by the tangled web of our circumstances, with no beacon to illuminate the way ahead. Yet, Linda's serene and unforeseen reaction offered us a glimmer of hope, a crucial lifeline in the midst of uncertainty. She had given us the opportunity to stand united, to grapple with the intricate maze of emotions and repercussions that loomed over us, demanding our attention. I stole another glance at Matthew, and in that fleeting moment our eyes locked. An unspoken connection surged between us, heavy with unexpressed emotions. In that fleeting moment, clarity struck me like a thunderbolt. No matter what lay ahead, we would confront it with unwavering truthfulness. The situation was fraught with complexity, a tangled web of consequences that defied any straightforward remedy. Yet, amidst the shadows, a glimmer of hope emerged, a possibility for healing, a pathway to understanding, and perhaps the promise of something far more profound. My thoughts surged with a whirlwind of possibilities as I leaned back, grappling with the weight of it all. Linda's calm, almost maternal presence lingered in my thoughts. Her serene acceptance had unveiled a hidden door I never knew was there. She lingered in the shadows of uncertainty, neither casting us aside nor sealing our fate with harsh judgment. Instead, she had bestowed upon us the liberty to delve into these emotions, to uncover the depths of their significance. What might unfold if we dared to reveal the entirety of our feelings? Could there ever be a moment when Linda finds it in her heart to forgive us? Was it even possible for her? The questions haunted the corners of my thoughts, a whispering reminder that this was not the time for such ponderings. Not in this very moment. It was just Matthew and me, enveloped in the heavy silence of our doubts, acutely aware of one undeniable truth. Nothing would ever return to the way it once was. With no other path in sight, they had to press on, united in their resolve. No matter what awaited us in the shadows of the future, we would stand united, ready to unravel the mysteries that lay ahead. I truly appreciate your presence on this incredible journey we are embarking on together. If this story resonated with you and stirred your thoughts, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more enthralling tales that await you. Your support is everything to me, and I eagerly await your thoughts in the comments below. Until we meet again, take care and hold this close to your heart. Often, it is the most surprising bonds that reveal the deepest truths.